This is a very short video just about the voting for the president 2016. Just for those who are not informed, but for those who are informed, they will know exactly what I'm talking about. It appears as though Trump will definitely win the election. Even if there are some people who don't like that, or some people who don't want him. There are 5 basic reasons that I'll mention for those who don't know. For those who know, I'll just be reinforcing what they already know and perhaps adding a little more to it. Alright, firstly, you have to remember that the American public is approximately more than 300 million people, the majority of which are white European people. African American blacks, they are a minority, and there are some other minorities as well. Such as the Spanish, Hispanic minority, and so forth. But the majority are the white Americans. So it's basically what the white Americans want that would get the popular vote. All right, we're talking about popular vote right now. We're not talking about the electoral vote, which is another whole situation. For those who want to know exactly how the voting system works in America, then watch my video about you do not really elect a president. Some people don't know how the electoral college works or how the election process works. So right now we're talking about the popular vote, all right, of which the electoral college is supposed to respect the popular vote, and they're supposed to actually reflect it, but by law they don't have to. Alright, let's take a look now basically as to why Trump should win the popular vote. First of all, as I mentioned, the majority of Americans are white Americans. Okay, and so Trump is considered white. And so there are many people who didn't want Obama in office just because he was black. It had nothing to do with his credentials. When he first ran for presidency, not many people knew about what his credentials were, and so they basically went on what he said. And so those who did not want him in office, and there were many, I mean almost 50% that didn't want him in office to begin with, and that was because he was black, African American, unfortunately. So there is still a lot of racism in America, which has affected the reality or the state of being. As you can know, many of you know and hear all over the news, how there are so many police killings, of black people and so forth. So the racial tension is still very high. It's just that before it was more suppressed. People had those racial feelings and thoughts in their hearts and their minds, but it wasn't as apparent. So here we have Trump, who is considered white, who has no problem with viewing his opinion about anything. Some people love that. They believe that he's honest, and they'd rather have someone who's honest, who speaks his mind, than someone who lies and deceives. So that's another one of the 5 reasons that some people want Trump, because they know where he stands. And aside from that, there are many who agree with some things that he's saying. So him being white, that is a plus, that is a positive. Also in America still there's a lot of male chauvinism, so many of them had chosen Obama over Hillary Clinton, and so that's another reason why Trump may win. I mean, why he may win as well. because he is a man. Even many religious Christians believe that a woman should not be in charge. And those who are very religious, they go on how the Bible speaks about how the woman should not even raise her voice in the church. She should remain silent. So there is still a lot of male chauvinism throughout the country, but America tries to paint a picture that there is equality between the sexes and no racism or prejudice. But the reality is these things actually do still exist. All right, so that's one reason, because he's white and because he's a man, so a white male. So that gives him, an advantage over Hillary and so forth and other candidates that were running before. But now that is down to Hillary and Trump. That's what gives him an advantage of being white and to being a man, white male, technically speaking. All right, and the second thing is that he is wealthy. Many people know that he's a wealthy businessman, and so he is expected to be in support of the wealthy class. And many people know that America is run by the wealthy businessmen, by the wealthy class. And many of them are those who own the Federal Reserve Bank, which is in charge with printing America's money. Yes, the government of America does not print its own money. The Federal Reserve does. It controls the American dollar, printing it, and the economy. And those are rich businessmen. So what they want is what will happen. Like someone in the history before said, if I control the economy of a country, I care not who makes its laws. And so once you control the economy of a country, you can control people and get them to go against their very own principles, go against the Constitution and go against their religious principles and so forth, because you control their economy, you control their money, you control their jobs, you control their life, like that. So it's the rich businessmen that really run the country. And so for those who want to do a little investigation to find out who are those rich business people, that's not the topic right now. But you'll come to find that many of those rich people in America, rich businessmen, are those who own the Federal Reserve Bank. And the Federal Reserve Bank is owned by, wealthy Jews. And people know about the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and so forth. So those who know, they understand what I'm talking about. They control the American economy, and so they orchestrate, who is put in office and who is not put in office. So that leads us to the other thing that gives Trump an advantage, because his son-in-law is Jewish. So not only is he wealthy, which gives him a connection with the wealthy businessmen, but also his son-in-law is Jewish. So that gives him another strong connection with getting an office. All right, whether the people like it or not. So if the Electoral College chooses him, it doesn't matter who the people want, but the media tries to control the choice of the people so that the people feel like and think like they have chosen the President of the United States, and so that there will be no turmoil, no revolution, no protesting against the system of the Electoral College. All right, so that's the other thing. One, he's white, he's a white male, white man, and also he's wealthy. Okay, and then also the other thing is that he hates Islam, and he says very clearly and very boldly that Islam is the problem and Muslims are the problem. So we must keep them from coming in the country. We must give all of them IDs to wear. We must put cameras in their masjids. And all of these different things that must be done in order to monitor the movement and activity of the Muslims, by which he claims that they are the reason for terrorism in America. Of course, he's concerned about America, as he's saying. And so many people love that. I mean, people love what he's saying because they feel like Obama has been too soft on the Muslims and keeps saying that Muslims are not terrorists. The problem is not with Islam. The problem is with the people who claim Islam, and so forth. So people, as they keep seeing another terrorist, and all of them seem to be Muslim, even though the media is what makes it appear that way. There are many other terrorist acts, but the media did not focus on it, whether we talk about Timothy McVeigh or we talk about any other terrorist. But nonetheless, the American public has been led to believe that, yes, indeed, Muslims are terrorists and they are the problem, and the media makes it appear clearly that way. So that gives Trump another advantage. So he uses what the media has created, the Islamophobia, and he uses it to his advantage very well by saying, he's going to put a stop to this terrorism, and he's going to make America great again, and that America is a Christian country, and so forth. So he is appealing to those very thoughts and feelings that some people were afraid to express, and others were expressing secretly or amongst themselves. Well, now it's surfacing, and he's exposing really what's in their hearts. And also, like I said, with the other issues of racism and so he's clearly stating his mind and saying what the people want to hear. All right. Also, that's the other thing. Like I said, is that he's very honest, and some people, they feel like, hey, it's better to have a person who's very honest and speaks his mind. And of course, he's saying a lot of what the people like to hear, but at the same time, they know where he stands. Not someone who's going to lie just to get in office and deceive just to get in office. And then when he gets in office, he does something different. So that's another reason why the people love him as well. Okay. Okay, and that's basically it. Those are the 5 things that should definitely put Trump in office, whether people like him or not, aside from the Electoral College that will most likely put him in office whether people like it or not. But we're talking about right now the popular vote. What should get him the popular vote? What the rich businessmen want is really what's going to happen. They're going to control the Electoral College, which goes to show you and lets you know why all of a sudden we had Obama going to Israel and dressing with like the Jews, with something on his head and so forth. How they all went to pay their respects and to kiss up to those rich and wealthy businessmen, in order to have hopes that they will choose that they would choose the Democrats to put in office. So they know who controls who is going to be put in office. But even with all of the kissing up, I don't think that's enough kissing to change who they want in office. So I'm quite sure, like I said, it will be a complete shock and surprise, actually, for Hillary Clinton to get in office. She not only has her own dirt to cover up that she's trying to hide and showing one face while doing other things, which the people don't like, with her dealings with Haiti and collecting all of the money and not helping them, but also with her involvement, in Libya, in Benghazi and so forth. So there are some people who know the dirt that she was involved in, and saying she wasn't doing anything with her email improperly and so forth. some people with how she smiles in public and is very bad with the people outside of the public view, outside of the camera view. So and her being a woman is her strongest advantage. People want to see the first woman president, so that is her strongest advantage. But other than that, she has no advantage, to get in office, except if the white, with the Jewish, with the big businessmen, if they want her in, then she'll be in, even if we don't want her in. But it looks like the favors are stacked in Trump's corner. All right, he has everything that they want in a new president, and if he doesn't become president, indeed, many would be completely shocked. Okay, he didn't get where he's at for no reason. All right, so we'll see what happens in November, but it appears to be completely confirmed that Trump will be the president of the United States, President Trump. Of course, people talk about the possibility of a state of emergency and Obama doesn't leave office and stays in office. But I doubt that, because I'm pretty sure those who put him in office are done with him. They have achieved what they look to achieve with him, and they're done with him, like I'm quite sure. So many people don't even want a black president in office, and he did make some changes to laws paving the way for someone like Trump to exercise unchecked power in the government, and most likely it will get even worse, where the power of the government will increase and lead to a police state. But we'll see. So wait and watch. We're all waiting and watching.